Oh,
Ready?
epic.
Start
3, 2, 1.
and action. So, Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan. That's what we've watched for this week. Hey, look at that! The awesome trio. I love your T-shirt, Jed. Botanipe.
Oh, yes, I'm loving that.
Yeah.
So we've watched Star Trek II: Wrath of Khan. I'm doing this again. We've watched Star Trek.
3, 2, 1. You're live.
Action, right. Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, that's what we've watched. The motion picture was a massive success for Paramount, made them a lot of money, and they thought, hang on, this has got legs. It cost $44 million, so they wanted to save a bit of money. Star Trek II had a budget of $12 million. It's a bargain bucket Star Trek film. They couldn't afford Jerry Goldsmith, so they went for James Horner, who was a relatively unknown composer of music. I think he'd done a few TV series, but he'd not really done anything of note. They reused a lot of visual effects. Most of the ships and things like that you see in Wrath of Khan are actually from the motion picture, either scenes from the film or scenes from the film but flipped horizontally, so it's the other way around, or unseen footage. For example, you've got shots of Klingons in the motion picture, and obviously the models have filmed some different angles. The angles that they didn't use in the motion picture, a lot of those scenes were used in Wrath of Khan. So a lot of recycled footage. It's a sequel to the TOS episode Space Seed, but if you've never seen Space Seed, it doesn't really matter because anything that you need to know is explained in the film anyway. It's generally regarded as the best of the Star Trek films, which is, of course, wrong because the motion picture is. I say that. I watched this film either yesterday or the night before. I can't remember now. And as I'm watching it, I'm thinking, fucking hell, this is a great film. It's a really, really good film. And my missus came in halfway through and she's watching it. And she kind of like pretends that she hates Star Trek, but she loves it really. But even she loves Wrath of Khan. And nobody can dislike it. Surely. I mean, we'll see what Steve thinks in a bit. But yeah. So who wants to talk about Wrath of Khan?
Should I kick off first? Seeing as
Go.
so I never really go first because I like to hear everyone's points and then build on them.
I actually know that this is one of your favourites, John. I've been looking forward to this from you all week. So,
oh, no pressure then. Honestly,
Make it good.
I've missed everyone the last 2 weeks, so I'm looking forward to seeing the motion picture video and the discussions because it's terrible. I mean, I tried to watch this from a different perspective because every time I watch it, I just go, "This is almost the best film ever." Full stop. So I tried to look at it from a little bit more of a critical aspect of it. I've watched it twice, nearly 3 times in the last sort of 6 months. Once on a watch through, once when I was feeling a bit crap, and today. But when it clears the mooring, the Trek tingle is unbelievable, and that's something the movie period I think does incredibly well. Like where it clears the mooring, the lights come on in sequence, the music comes on. And it's just incredible. It's interesting, Dan, because you said they used a lot of old footage, and I'm wondering if this is from the motion picture, because it must have been expensive, because where it comes out, you can see the Aztecing on the hull, which is the first time you can see that. Yeah. I believe that's the first time you can see the Aztecing on the hull. That must have been very expensive at the time.
Well, no, the first time we saw that was in Star Trek: The Motion Picture because it's the same footage.
I've not noticed it.
There are videos online actually, and I may as well link to one in the description of this where they actually show the Wrath of Khan and the motion picture side by side. But obviously, in the motion picture, instead of it goes on for ages. In Wrath of Khan, it's obviously edited down.
Yes, and the little guy waving. I didn't notice the Aztecing in the original movie. I need to watch that back. That's interesting.
that was me, that little guy. That was me.
You get a band, didn't you?
I just love it's just funny because he's not actually waving, is he? He's like directing, and it's like, well, it's not much use there, is it, mate? Like it reminded me of a situation in Hull for all the Northerners on the barrier, the flood barrier. There's a big sign on it that says "Stop when barrier is down," and it's a ship canal, and it's like, if a ship's got that close, it's like the most pointless sign in the world. Like it's too late.
What does that say?
Yeah. I'm not a massive fan of the plot for this, to be honest with you. And I think you can not a massive fan. That's the wrong terminology. I understand it's made to Kirk look rusty and a bit past it. I understand that that's the idea. It's meant to look rusty and a bit stupid, isn't it? But it's a bit overdone, to be honest with you, in my opinion. I did know that. I think it was the 3 scripts for this originally that they combined into one. Is this one of the fastest production Star Trek films? I think. I'm not sure, but Dan will fact check me, no doubt, and it will be on the video now.
Yeah, I think
so-
from reading in the past, I can't remember the name of the person who wrote. Was it Harv Bennett? I can't remember. I'll put the correct name on now. He wrote it, and then Nicholas Mayer then had a write as well. So a few people, but
Yeah.
I do understand it was quick
I
though.
distinctly remember there being 3 scripts. The Genesis Project being one of them, and there was another one as well. I can't
because they
remember
threw
what it was.
Roddenberry out, didn't they?
And yeah, I just think that's a bit overplayed a little bit, but I'll leave that now and I'll get on to the thing. The approach of the 2 ships, it's like a Western, isn't it? It is like a Western, and I've heard other people say that, but it is like a spaghetti Western. The slow, what's going to happen, and then the bam, like the fact that you could talk about the plot all day and I won't, because it's a plot at the end of the day and it's a plot device, but after it, they knew this weapon was like a weapon to all, a device that could end worlds and could be used properly. And then, when they receive that something's going wrong with it, they just have a dilly dance there at like warp 5. No, just take it easy, it's all right. And then when they get there, they're not even remotely suspicious that a ship's closing down on them. And I understand that's for the plot, but it's just a bit daft. And then the battle scene, that first battle scene, is still probably my favourite. Although Matara Nebula one's pretty good as well. But both of my favourite battle films are in this, which is surprising because I love DS9 and all the CGI there. But there's something basic about this that works so well. It's so suspenseful. And my God, the music and the scores are incredible. Fire! They are fantastic. I didn't realise how good they were until I had it on in my office today, really loud. And I was like, wow, this is incredible. The way that when Khan's got the upper hand, it plays his theme more, really quite dominantly. And then when it's the other way around, when he's typing in the prefix code, which is just hilarious, by the way, your 6-digit code and you can take over the starship.
Reliance prefix number is 16309.
Jobs are good, and it's 1 to 9, and you can only use it 1 digit at a time. But yes, and then when they're doing that, it flips, and you get the Enterprise's theme more dominantly when they're on the upper hand. That mirror between the situations, I think, is fantastic, and it plays to the situation so well. I've got a big note here that says short scores. I love the short, intense scores. Yeah, it's fantastic. It gives me a Trek tingle every time I hear it as well. I think it's because I watched these when I was younger. That it's that it just immediately takes you right back to the first time you watched it. I think.
Very emotive, very, very emotive.
I actually
got everything.
When you're about Trek tingles. The Trek tingles started for me literally when it starts. You get that low rumble and the audio, and then when it comes in, honestly, I got teary-eyed. Honestly, I was just like, it was like it's the ultimate Trek tingle. Honestly, I love it.
When that score at the beginning ends, and you get that airy kind of, you're like, I felt myself going like this, and just coming straight into the screen like. Here we go. And actually, in my mind, this started with the Reliant coming up on Ceti Alpha 5. But it started actually in the simulator. And I was like, oh, great. And instantly got a reason to watch it because I couldn't remember the exact... I mean, when it started, I know the script of it. But when that score closes out, I got the same thing as you, John Joe, and you, Dan. I just got that instant kind of, oh, yes, here we go.
Especially, I watched it and I was like, I've watched it really recently. I'm just going to skip through it to the bits that I'm a bit vague on just to get some notes. I watched the entire thing. Yeah.
I did the same thing. I was only intending to watch, I thought, I've seen this so many times, I don't need to watch it again. But I couldn't switch it off. I just couldn't switch it off. And it was because of the music. I just didn't want to break that music. It's so great all the way through.
It's absolutely fantastic. The music is incredible. I don't like the worms in the ears. That freaks shit out of me, to be quite honest with you. Sorry, editing Dan, I swore already, but it really freaks me out. I don't like that. But
the bit that
yeah.
freaks me out the most is when the worm's coming up to Chekhov's ear. You see the little tongue go like that, and you're like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah. But there's a few potholes, but I'm trying to let everyone else get onto that. But one of my things that have always annoyed me, but I found the answer out today because it annoyed me that much. I googled it. Right, you've just been hit in this battle, and as chief engineer, you take it fine. You're taking someone to sick bay because you're the chief engineer. Somebody else can do the fixing. Why are you going to the bridge with a dead guy? Like, it's nowhere near. The bridge is like right on the top, and engineering's right at the bottom. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And then I saw a comment.
You get off at the wrong floor, bro. Sick bay's downstairs.
Well, he's dead now, isn't he? Well done.
I didn't order that, Scotty. I didn't order that. Take it back.
But it was a YouTube comment, and it was like, someone made the exact same comment, and someone put, watch the director's extended cut. And I was like, what? And I watched it, and it's explained on, the extra little audio, that it's apparently in the actual script.
His nephew or something.
It's his Scotty's sister's child. Yeah. That works, doesn't it? Yeah. That's why he takes the death so hard.
My sister's youngest admiral.
But why didn't they just keep that in? Like that. I know why they used it as a cheap punch in the gut, didn't they? That's what it's supposed to be. But yeah. It's just fantastic. The Mutara Nebula scene is still, if it's not the first battle scene, it's definitely the Mutara Nebula scene. It's incredible. Khan, yes, it's actually not very clever, is he? But that's again the plot. I'm not going to put holes in it. Why didn't he use the prefix code first if he was so clever? And my big gripe with the entire thing, there's two big gripes. Why didn't he just, when they were torturing him to say where the Genesis device was, why didn't they just put one of them worms in its ear, like one of their ears, and say, where is it? And where the hell did the Genesis planet come from? Like, it said it needed to be used on a planet for it to work, and then all of a sudden the ship blows up and there's a fucking planet there. Like,
what it says is it takes matter on a subatomic level and rearranges it.
It is a process whereby molecular structure is reorganized at the subatomic level into life-generating matter of equal mass.
So nebulas are made of atoms. There is matter there, and the Genesis wave does extend out and suck everything in. So,
I suppose, I mean,
I'm surprised at you, John Joe. I'm surprised at you.
You need another film, don't you? And
it was literally the definition of world building.
Actually, there is very little world building in this episode, except the bit where they build the world.
So this is the one where they introduced the monster maroon.
Yeah, there's world building here. It is.
I think there's a lot in this, actually.
There's a lot of firsts in this. There's a lot of world building in this, John Joe. I'll tell you about it in a minute.
Yeah, please do. That's why I come. But yeah, I love the scenes. I love the old-fashioned model shots. I had so much time for that because you had to make it good. You had to. It wasn't just, I'll just go in Blender or whatever they use it and smashing out an animation scene and put loads of emphasis on special effects, like not special effects, like digital effects. They had to make it good and emotive and make stuff feel big with the way they were moving it, and it works so well, especially in the Nebula. And the music, I love the music. Yeah, that's about it. Obviously, there's the scene that makes everyone cry, and lots of other stuff that goes in this film. But I'll leave all that to you.
Jerry Goldsmith did the music for the first film, then James Horner did the music for the second film, and in Alien and Aliens, it was the other way around. James Horner did Alien, and then Jerry Goldsmith did Aliens, which I don't know. It's not that interesting, but something that I noted. When you talk about the opening, I just said the opening to this is, I always forget about that simulation, the Kobayashi Maru test at the beginning. I absolutely and when you see them, I imagine watching this for the first time, and I know obviously that people kind of knew that Spock was dying. That was a rumor that escaped. People heard about that, and I love the kind of like the fake death. And even when Kirk says to him, "Oh, I thought you were dead," you can imagine.
Aren't you dead?
Yeah, you can imagine. If you'd heard that Spock was dying, you'd be like, no, it's not. That's what they must. You can imagine now that diffuses that expectation, and then obviously what happens later on in the film it just makes it more devastating.
Aren't you dead?
It's a massacre. The start of this film's a massacre.
Oh, yeah.
McCoy gets blown out of a door, and Spock has that kind of side-grabbing, everyone's going down.
Uhura.
Sulu as well. Uhura. And you're like, oh, my God. Everyone's going
there's
down.
a reason for all that.
Yeah,
It's one
and
of
you
the
could
most
watch the rest of the
pop
film and get the scene at the end and still have that surprise.
Got
It's
fun.
the most
I love it as a foreshadowing thing. I really do. It's great. I mean, like it seems really random, but it works for oh shit, yeah.
Do you know what happens in that scene that's amazing as well? And as I'm watching, I'm thinking, oh, Patches, I bet loves this bit. It's when Captain Kirk appears, right, is in silhouette. It's got the light behind him.
The light behind him, and he's holding his buckle like that. And he just
brilliant.
All right, open it up. As soon as that that was as soon as that's he comes in that silhouette and he's holding it and you're like, fucking there's the boss right there.
It's like
I love it.
It's like a Christ-like figure. It's just and straight away you'd know, and it's one of the best entrances ever. I love it.
And not only that, but he's in an Admiral version, Monster Maroon as well. So and everyone's watching it like, what are these uniforms? What's going on here? Where's all the dentist outfits that they were in last time? And he comes in, and it is, isn't it? It's the dentist. It's like they're like dental nurses running around with camel toes and all sorts of horrible shit. He fades in through the light into the room, and he's in the Monster Maroon, and he just looks the business, and he does. I mean, it wasn't just light; it was smoky as well, and it was that kind of thing. Like, we need smoke, we need and it's all of those little nuggets of, people that know their business, how to make things look good on screen. And you've got a guy like, he would know too much smoke, not enough smoke. You know what I mean? He knows how much smoke, where to put the light, and how to walk him in. And all of that works from the very first scene, the first act. It's perfect.
Yeah,
It's all right.
there's a few scenes in this film that are so pop culture. Like, a lot of Star Trek's pop culture comes from this film. Like the Kobayashi Maru, so many people know what the Kobayashi Maru is.
Yeah.
So many people, but even people that aren't really a Star Trek fan, they go, "Why does that ring a bell?" It's like, well, this is why. And the Spock scene, obviously. Always be my friend, etc. That like the two most probably recognizable scenes in Star Trek come from one film, which is pretty incredible, considering it's meant to be a cheap follow-on from the motion picture.
Yeah, absolutely. Go on, Chris.
I didn't watch the film.
Thanks, Chris.
Loads of times before, but I didn't watch. I don't need to watch it. I know the film like the back of my hand. So a couple of pointers that I did notice. When the guy is ushering the Enterprise out of the dock, immediately I've got airplane.
Hey Larry, where's the forklift? Forklift! It's over there by the baggage loader.
So there's some really, really good bits of dialogue in this. One of the best ones I love, and it's just so well executed, and it is William Shatner. You can't deny the guy's acting ability in the films. Series, yeah. But the films, his acting ability is just on point, and it's just that bit where he contacts the Enterprise. He said, "It's 2 hours. Are you ready?" He says, yes, Captain, on schedule. And he gets up, he gets the apple, he goes, "I don't like to lose."
I don't like to lose.
And to be honest,
it's that, like, I've just won £6 on a roulette machine or something like that. Do you know what I mean? I don't like to lose.
I'll tell you what, hopefully, please God, hopefully I'll get enough overtime and I'll come to Vegas with you guys and I'm going to sit on a roulette table and I'll lose £500 but win a tenner and go,
I don't like to lose.
I'm doing it. I'm doing it. I'm doing it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right, and I want you lot behind me doing the music going. I mean, I remember Dan Aykroyd saying he had an interview and he was asked, "What did you think about the girls' version of Ghostbusters?" And he said, "Well, the problem was," he said, "I told them don't spend a lot of money on it." He said, "Keep it finite." He said, "When we did Ghostbusters and Ghostbusters 2, he said the budget was next to nothing." He said, "Now the thing is, when you've got no budget, It means you're not relying on sets, you're not relying on costumes, special effects. You don't have the money for any of that. He said, so you have to bring your A game to make that film work. He said, I don't think they did really. He said, and that's down to the budget. And I think that's what's happened in Star Trek 2. They knew and they had to bring their A game to that film. And man, did they bring it. And also, I mean, you wouldn't have known it was half the budget. Or less than half the budget.
It's nearly known. It's only a bit more than a quarter.
The sets look good, especially on the Nebula scene at the end. Absolutely stunning, beautiful.
Yeah.
So it just goes to show you do not need a massive budget to make a good film.
No, you don't. That's what ruins a lot of films sometimes.
Well, they rely on the budget too much, don't they? We'll do this in post, especially with CGI, because you can be quite lazy with it, because the CGI is relatively cheap these days. And, speaking of CGI, one thing that I'm sure someone will mention is the first ever full CGI, I think, scene in a film was in Wrath of Khan,
Yeah, the Genesis torpedo scene, where it hits the moon and you get that thing, and they do reuse that in... Yeah, they reused that in the third. That, in the day, must have looked cutting edge. I'm not going to say it looks shit now. It holds its own. But
it looks terrible.
I think it looks quite good.
That's because you're old.
It's not actually a rendition of something that actually happened. It is a computer-generated image of a demonstration. So we already know that this is a mock-up of something. And on those grounds... Do you know what I mean? This isn't this is a computer generated image, but we know it is because it's not a real thing.
The device is delivered, instantaneously causing what we call the Genesis effect.
So it stands up even now to scrutiny. It doesn't have to look like it really happened. It's just giving you a graphical impression of what this is going to maybe look like.
It's a good point, that. Because
it stands up.
Yeah, they're not saying this isn't footage of it happening. This is a computer simulation of what happened. So it looks like a computer simulation because it is a computer simulation. And so, like you say,
that's a really good point.
Yeah, I never even thought of it that way.
We have the technology now to, like in engineering, to create fantastically realistic, but we don't because we just try to get a point across.
Yeah, I mean, if you want a prime example that you don't need to spend money, if you look at the first episode of Discovery, where you got the Klingon War and it first kicks off, the CGI is shocking, absolutely shocking. You can't make out the ships. When they're firing at each other, you just see pops and crackles, and it's just, what the hell am I looking at? It looks crap. But when you look at the CGI in Axanar, it's so on point. You can see every detail. You can see every phaser shot and torpedoes. And my God, it's beautiful. You just don't need the money to make something look good.
Can I give you a really good example in this film of a cheap effect? Do you know when you see the when I forgot her name? Is it Carol takes Kirk down into that cave? And it's amazing. It's all green. That's a matte painting. That's literally all painted on glass. Because I'm kind of obsessed with matte paintings in films. And your lower budget films, they're not as great. And in your high budget films, which I'm including this in compared to, say, like a Hammer horror, it looks superb. And matte paintings used, it's a classic technique that's been used for, over a century now. And that it looks amazing. It looks absolutely, the greens in it really pop. It just looks superb. And I remember seeing that thinking, that looks, but it was done sometimes with the matte painting. You can tell because where the action is, it sometimes moves around a bit, but it looks really clean on that. It's done absolutely brilliantly. You can't tell it's
the only problem with that is we're in a cave underground and there's a pretty distinct light source over there somewhere.
Yeah. But you do see light coming from. It looks like there must be like an entrance or an exit, depending on your perspective, because you can see light coming in from outside. So I know what you mean. It is too light, but but it does look gorgeous. Maybe
it does.
Hey, listen, bioluminescence. Maybe there's some organisms there that are glowing. There you go. Explained it.
I have a lot of time for practical effects because I know that digital effects with modern tools are to be honest with you, quite easy. They're very time consuming, but they're fairly simple-ish when you compare to the work that just goes into a single practical effect is incredible. Like
when you say simple, do you mean you've got a computer and you've got time, you can pretty much do whatever you want rather than building gimbals and camera tricks and models and armies of guys and, like I say, smoke and light and speed and everything.
Now, CGI is so much cheaper, which is why that's the only reason it's used beyond practical effects. It is so much cheaper. And also with CGI, you can redo it. With the practical effect, let's say you explode something, it's like, oh shit, well, we've done it now, we'll have to rebuild it. Or whereas with CGI, you can, you just leave it to render, or you can just modify it, you can do it again, it's
Stargate.
So much cheaper.
Stargate's a great example of that. They had that pyramid, they had one shot. That's why there's so many different angles of it, because they were terrified that little model cost so much money that it was going to cost a fortune to do. It's not just drawn. Someone's had to come up with how the hell are we going to do this. Yeah,
I love models in movies. I prefer models in movies.
I do.
Another movie that kind of, and it's not a sci-fi film, but the model work is great and it does set the scene. And not everyone likes this film. Is The Hunt for Red October.
Oh,
love it.
What do you mean everybody doesn't like that film?
I've actually had a conversation with someone who said, my boring film I've ever seen. And I think that was probably one of the last times I spoke to that person.
Yeah, quite right.
What gives you the right to fire on my ship?
It's not a sci-fi film, but it is the same kind of film. Do you know what I mean? And I've always said that Star Trek is submarine combat. That's what it is. Yeah. It's naval combat. And probably because they're using models, the ships, particularly in this film, they do turn really slowly. Do you know what I mean? And they have that banking, like they're in a medium, like they're underwater, basically. And they can't just spin round on a penny, which they could do, to be honest. But that doesn't look good. And it doesn't feel good. Do you know what I mean? And to use those kind of models in these kind of films, it gives it, I don't know, there's whatever's missing, and maybe they don't know what they don't know, but whatever could be missing in CGI is by definition not missing, because you are filming something that's really there. So the shadows are really there. The movement is really there. And the depth is really there.
One thing I'd like to point out in terms of practical effects, one thing I was reading about, do you know Kirk's quarters in this? That Kirk's quarters was reused in the episode Data Law as Data's quarters. And I think from that point onwards, it was his quarters. And the table, there's like an L-shaped table in there, has appeared in several episodes of TNG. I think it was in Picard's quarters at one point. It's been in Data's quarters. And I love the reuse of props and things like that within Star Trek. And so I just thought I'd mention that because I think that's quite cool, the fact that set was redressed and reused.
Does anybody else like to spot props in different scenes and sometimes different films? There's the really famous ones, the red, the most useless device, the most important device in the universe, I believe it's called in the geek circles. It's in every single film ever.
Was that in this one? Because there's a scene where I can't remember it was now. I think it was when the land, where the Genesis devices, the wherever the base
lab thing.
Yeah, I'm sure I saw that. I might have got it wrong. I'm sure I saw something really quickly. I'm thinking, I'm sure I've seen that because it's also in, I think, Airplane 2. The one that Shatner's in, because he walks past it.
It's in Voyager, Star Wars, Stargate, Firefly. It's in everything.
It might not have been that one, but
what is it?
It looks like these long like cylinders or whatever, like tubes, but it's in loads of different films. It's in quite a few ones.
Put it in the edit for me. Find a picture of these things and put it in the edit.
John Joe is correct. In fact, this is the first appearance of this prop. We'll see it loads in Star Trek. It's in Star Trek V. It's in various episodes of TNG. It's also in Voyager. It shows in Lower Decks as well. And it's in loads of different films and TV programs. Good spot, John Joe.
What have you found? All I found is that these red lights keep moving back and forth. Aside from that, this thing seems to have no other function whatsoever, sir.
Well, that's impossible. It must have some sort of function. I mean, why would the government put all that money into a thing with red lights that keep going back and forth? Doesn't make any sense. Keep working on it.
Sir, it has its own article. I've dropped it in. There's someone done an interview with a guy that made it. But yes.
I think that's Arnie's film on Mars, Total Recall. I think it's in that. Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
It's been in almost all of the Star Trek franchises. The Last Starfighter, Knight Rider, Airplane, Austin Powers, over 100. That's
Really?
Yeah. It's got a Guinness World Record of the most filmed prop ever.
Yeah.
McCoy's
no,
got some really good lines in this movie. Like
Yes.
I love every. It's one of my favorite things in TOS as well. Is just every comment about green-blooded.
You green-blooded inhuman.
Bridge to Admiral Kirk.
And I
Yeah,
think
he got cut off before a real like racist rant towards what you
was getting
green-blooded inhuman. Yeah.
One of my favourite things that Bones says in this is when Savik's taking the ship out and Bones just looks at it and goes, "Do you want a tranquilizer?"
Would you like a tranquilizer?
That is very good, yeah.
There are some amazing lines in this right from the very beginning. Because I'd started to take some notes, but there were that many great lines, I just gave up. But you've got Kirk saying, "Galloping around the cosmos is a game for the young," which I love that line.
Now, what's that supposed to mean?
Galloping around the cosmos is a game for the young, Doctor.
Now, what is that supposed to mean?
And he's marching off. He said, "What's that supposed to mean?" Like, speak for yourself, bro.
I can't remember the line now, but he says something along the lines, "How we deal with death is just as important as with how we deal with life." I can't remember the exact line, but that's
exactly the line. How we deal with death, how we deal with life is important as how we deal with death is important as how we deal with life. And that comes up when he goes into Torpedo Bay 2 when he the crew's waiting. Yes, we've been through life and death together. And it is this. The theme of this one is life and death, isn't it?
It is.
And it is the no-win scenario in life and death. That's the theme that runs through it. If you want to look for the Trek moral, it's that.
How we deal with death is at least as important as how we deal with life, wouldn't you say?
But Shatner gets the best lines in this. Honestly, it's just little off-the-cuff things, like when McCoy says something like, "How was my performance?" And he says, "I'm not a movie critic," or something like that.
"I'm not a drama critic."
Yeah, something like that.
What about my performance? I'm not a drama critic.
But Shatner, somebody else said it. I think might have been Chris. Shatner in the films is sublime. It's faultless. It's superb. If you only ever saw Shatner in the Star Trek films and nothing else, you'd be like, I don't understand why people criticize him, because he is brilliant. But the interactions he has. You what? Sorry.
That's how I grew up. I'd not seen the original series till
Same here.
26.
Same
so
here.
I'd seen the original films though.
Yeah.
Because that is fantastic.
But
how I managed, because I had literally only watched the original series until about 2015 when I watched a couple of the movies.
Yeah.
And then it was 2020 when I watched anything else. So I don't know how the fuck I'm still here.
Well, I didn't watch TOS, probably all of it, and it was after my first convention in 2016. I'd seen bits of TOS, but it just didn't really appeal to me that much. But then I went back to it. I mean, it was the films that I suppose got me into it to start with, and then TNG. But the interactions between the main crew in this is so good. I know that Shatner famously fell out with George Takei and Leonard Nimoy and things like that, but there's absolutely no hint of it in this film. The way they all interact is brilliant.
They are professionals.
And absolutely, I love it.
Or any of the films you couldn't tell.
No, you get warmth. Honestly, there's a real warmth that comes through the screen.
I thought they'd fallen out after that. I didn't realise that was before the films. That's really
maybe it was after.
No.
They fell out in the series.
Oh, right, okay.
Because he kept adjusting the scripts and taking all the best lines.
Yeah.
And they did say that there was a genuine feeling that if they opposed it or they'd argued it, they would be just told, "You can go. We'll get someone else to replace you." So no one said anything.
Yeah, I think that there was a situation where Shatner says, "I am top billing," and in programs and shows of that day, Rawhide, whatever, there was a top name. That was the name. That he's the star of the show.
Yeah,
and MacGyver, $6 Million Man, Planet of the Apes, anything like that. There was a main man, and Shatner said, "I am top billing. I'm the fucking man here, and you lot are supporting cast." And he said that to Nimoy, and Leonard Nimoy was like, "Bro, I don't think this show works like that. I don't think the premise is like that. I don't think," and he's like, "Well, you might think that, but here's my paycheck, and I'm the top boy. So shut up." None of that comes through, and the bromance between that we spoke about in the original series episodes that we've covered, like where Spock forgets to say Captain and calls him Jim when he's worried about him and shit like that. That comes through at the birthday situation, and he gives him a birthday present.
Happy birthday.
And there's a couple of times actually that Spock says, "I am your friend." You know what I mean?
You are also my friend. I have been and always shall be yours.
And he says it when he's handing over command of the Enterprise in Spock's quarters as well. And he said, "I am yours. I am I'm here for you, bro. And actually, Bones says it to him as well in Kirk's house or his apartment in San Francisco, overlooking the bay there. And he said, I'm your doctor and I'm your friend.
I'm your doctor and I'm your friend.
And everyone's kind of saying that to Kirk.
Let's be friends.
You know, he's struggling at the minute for some reason, and everyone's like, look, we're here for you. We're totally here for you. You're lost in your career, you don't know what you're doing, but we're here for you. Bones does get great lines, and that scene in Kirk's pad is really, really good for DeForest Kelly. You know what I mean? For Bones, he's a perfect friend, really. And he's like, what the fuck's the matter with you? You know, oh, I don't want to be lectured. It's like, oh, bullshit. What's, you know, and he does. He basically says that, bullshit. Don't bullshit me. And he says, look, Admiral. And even the way he delivers the nuance on those individual lines, you're hiding from yourself, Admiral.
Who am I hiding from? From yourself, Admiral.
Don't mince words, Bones. What do you really think?
And the other line is, I don't know what to say. Well, you could say, thank you.
Yeah.
You know,
well, the good thing is,
absolutely.
That conversation.
I love Bones' lines in this.
Well, that's the sort of conversation you could only have with two people who've known each other for ages, because otherwise it would come across disrespectful, you know. But this is like banter between two people who know each other, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say.
Well, you could say thank you. Thank you. Damn it, Jim, what the hell's the matter with you?
Yeah. And I like the way that Bones just sits down in his chair, puts his feet up in his pad, he's supping his drink. He looks like he's been going round to see him. Like, this isn't the first time this has happened. Do you know what I mean? And it looks like these two guys hang and have a sup and chat. And on this day, which is, you know, Kirk's birthday, he really needs talking to. You know, like, why are we treating your birthday like a fucking funeral, man? You're being a drag. What's the crack? And I think that comes across beautifully. And DeForest Kelly, he gets a little bit of development here. All right, there's no backstory to it. We don't know anything more about him after this film than when we started, apart from he's his doctor and he's his friend. But we get a bit more of his character. You know what I mean? He gets in the elevator and he's like, wonderful stuff, that Romulan ale. And you're like, you get that bit like, is he drinking on duty? Probably is the answer to that.
Wonderful stuff, that Romulan ale.
At the end, when he stops Spock, and you can tell he's pissed, but he's like, it's out of bloody concern. He's going, no, you're not. You're not going to do this. You're not going to bloody do this. You're not going to do it to you. You're not going to do it to me. You're not going to do it to him. You are not going to... Sorry, bye. Yeah.
I think he does. And that comes up in Star Trek 6, you know, age combined with drink. That line of, you know, it's kind of unsaid in Star Trek, but understood that Dr. McCoy is a pisshead, basically. He is.
Yeah.
And he cuts about, and did she change her hair? And all of that kind of, it's just off the cuff lines. And when he gets out, the Kirk storms off and is like, sorry. You know what I mean?
In the context of like Spock being more or less predominantly Vulcan and Kirk being there, they're very, very casual for that.
Yeah.
Like,
and in Spock's quarters as well, where he's sitting there with the, you know, he's having a meditate or whatever he's doing. He's like, Jim,
don't come in, I'm meditating.
Yeah. But yeah, it's quite an emotional scene for Spock. Yeah. You know what I mean? I've got no ego to bruise, man. Take the ship. I'm just happy to be here.
He hides behind protocol. There, he says, "Oh, well, this is the protocol." But he's not. You can tell he's doing it because he knows that Jim needs it. Kirk needs it.
If we are to go on actual duty, it is clear that the senior officer on board must assume command.
It may be nothing.
And it's a little gift from him.
Commanding a ship is your destiny. That's your first best destiny, and to do anything else would be a waste of material.
Yeah.
And Kirk looks at him and goes, I'm not going to presume to debate with you. And Spock goes, that is wise.
I would not presume to debate you. That is wise.
Really? Like,
big-headed fuck.
Yeah, totally.
No.
And that is
being
someone without an ego. that's a massively egotistical thing to say. Like, you know, to argue with me, obviously you're going to fucking lose there, bro. Don't argue with me.
I don't see it that way. I think when he says that is wise, it's almost saying it as a bit of a joke. Is like, you know, you can take command of this ship, you know, and give me the command of this ship, not because I think it's the best thing, not because I think it's protocol, but because I want you to, because you're my friend, and I love seeing you, you know, and it felt like it was a little gift from Spock. And there's a few moments with Spock like that. When Joey mentioned Scotty walked onto the bridge with that dead body, there's a really quick moment where Spock, it kind of like closes his eyes.
Shuts his eyes like, Jesus.
And you can tell that that's an emotional response. And I know we haven't really discussed the final sacrifice of Spock, but one thing that I always notice in this film, and it's brilliant, is you've got all this hoo-ha going off on the bridge, and you see the moment that he realizes, I'm going to sacrifice myself, because he kind of goes, and he just gets up off his chair, and it's such a big moment, because you know, once you've seen, you don't know the first time, but after you've seen it, and you know what he's going to do, and he doesn't make a song and dance about it. He doesn't even mention it to anyone. He just goes, and then you get that amazing bit where Kirk, I think he tries to hail Spock or whatever, or no, Bones says, "Jim, you've got to
better get down here, Jim. And better come now."
And for a moment, he's like, "What?" And then he realizes, and he doesn't, and he sprints. He sprints.
He sees the empty chair, doesn't he?
Yes, and it's enough to make him go. Oh,
and he does actually. He looks over, because the first thing he does, if there's shit's going down, I'm going to take me mate, because it's them two all the time. They're keyed like this, and he looks and he sees the empty chair and he goes, "Fuck."
Yeah,
and you can see the moment
something's happening. Where's Spock? Oh shit,
and
he's not here.
You can ask anyone. You can ask William Shatner, the director, anyone. That when he turns around and he's got his arms on his chair like that, and he turns around, there's one word going through his head. It's fuck. That's the only word that's going to fuck. And he's running down the corridors of the ship. That is the bromance. That is Parker. I don't think we get a great deal of that explored in the first film. In this film, what we had in the original series, it comes through again.
There's a great screenshot from the original series, which is Bones, Kirk, and Spock all in the same doorway, like this, trying to get because they all just went together, and it's like the best kind of like screen cap of like the relationship, because it's the three of them. It's always the three of them, and it has to be together.
I think it's the relationship between them that kind of makes this film, because although the film is brilliant, that's what elevates it to another level. The fact that you watch it, you're so emotionally engaged in it. You know, when we all know what happens to Spock in this film, and even though I've seen it so many times, it upsets me. And it's not Spock's dying; it's Kirk's reaction to it, and the fact that you can see him fucking heartbroken. And that's how brilliant Shatner is in this film. And the bit where his voice breaks a bit when he gives his little eulogy thing at the end, which we'll probably talk about, because I think a lot of people take issue with that what he says, but you hear his voice go, and it's just when it goes, you like, it sets you off.
I just want to go through some firsts that we've seen in this film. The first Mons Maroon that Jed got to. So the first time we see this uniform, it's militaristic. I don't think Gene Roddenberry would have gone for it because it has a very military feel, but it's my favorite uniform of all Star Trek. It works, and blinding, absolutely blinding. We get this new transporter thing. So the transporter situation in the motion picture and the series was that the motion picture had this tubular thing going on, and the original series had the silhouette where it just kind of had that color thing and it faded in. This time we've got a new sound effect for what is quintessential Star Trek. The transporter is proper Star Trek. And we get this light thing in Federation colors, like that red and blue situation, and it kind of just fades out, and that really got me. The first time I watched this, and even now when I'm watching it, I'm like, yeah, that's pretty good. It's the first time we get a proper transporter effect that looks quite impressive. That doesn't look like a special effect, but it blends in well on the screen. I like that. And we get a new ship. We get the Reliant. So we see other ships in the original series, but we get a lot of Constellation class. We don't get anything new in the motion picture, but we've got the Reliant, and that's a Federation ship. Now, it's a Starfleet thing, and it looks like it come from the same shipyard. Do you know what I mean? It has the same design. So those themes of, you've got the saucer section, you've got the nacelles, you've got that color scheme to it. I think we kind of take it for granted because we've got a lot of Star Trek to go from now, that is the kind of look and feel of a Federation ship. But this is the first time we kind of develop that theme. And yes, we have a saucer section, a bridge at the top, the nacelles. The nacelles are the same as the Enterprise nacelles. It's not, I don't think it's, maybe it was born out of having to cut costs with the models and just kind of make extra bits to the stuff we've got molds for or something like that. But it does give a flavor. You know, like you've got a brand of car with certain similarities. This is that kind of style of ship with certain similarities. And it's the first time we get to see a bit more of Starfleet. So that world building, it is happening. Like one big happy fleet, and we see more of the fleet. And we see the uniforms, and we see space stations, and we see the fact that there's like a science thing that's outside of Starfleet, and it is called the military in this film.
I've tried warning you before. Scientists have always been pawns of the military.
We do get the Klingon D7 simulated in a Kobayashi Maru. We get them 3. You know, that might have been reused footage again from the original from the motion picture.
The 3.
So, the 3 Klingon battle cruisers.
Yes, that is from the motion picture, yeah.
We do get a lot from the motion picture, but we do get as much from this film as well that sets the scene for the rest of Star Trek to come.
So the first one is Carol Marcus. Did we actually ever see her in the series?
No, I don't think so.
Is she the woman who's referenced in Strange New Worlds when he says
yeah.
And
in Strange New Worlds, I really did a kind of, are we really bringing her up now? Are we?
Yeah.
I think it's one of the few times when I've really questioned one of those decisions in Strange New Worlds where it was like,
She comes in the JJ films in the Kelvin universe, and she comes in Strange New Worlds, but that's the first time we hear about a love interest for James T. Kirk, like an actual love interest. Like he's had children.
Yeah,
you know, we find out that he's had a son. You know what I mean? And he knows about him. He's like, is that David?
Is that David?
Yeah. You know, and he did say, I did what you asked. I stayed away.
Yeah, I stayed away. Yeah,
I did what you wanted. I stayed away.
The music has been brought up, and it is very thematic. What I would say, and for the edit, Dan, 46 minutes 30 seconds, right? So John Joe mentioned that the ships are coming together, and there's this standoff. Now, if you look at 46 minutes 30 seconds, is where the Reliance bearing down on the Enterprise. If you look at the shot in silence, and you see the ship coming, it's the most harmless looking thing. It's just the approach of a ship. If you put that music to it, it then becomes terrifying. Do you know what I mean? And it's amazing how much the score really does feature to set the mood and the tone and tell this story. Ricardo Montalban. So I can't believe we've got this far through this episode and not mentioned Khan. Ricardo Montalban is just delicious, magnetic. You can't take your eyes off him when he's on the screen, you know, and you're looking at him and he plays an absolute blinder. He could have hammed it up. He could have, and I think Ricardo Montalban sets the scene for the villains later on, for the Klingons, Christopher Plummer, everybody, and he doesn't ham it up. And this guy, I think I said it earlier on in the week in the chat, he fucking hates this guy, man. And it comes through in subtle ways. And I could go through the situation when they meet him and he's like, why are you here? And he lifts him up and he's doing all of that. The one scene that I'm going to pick to sum up his performance is when he sits back and he's like, I've done worse than kill you. I've hurt you.
Yeah.
And I want to continue hurting you. And he grits his teeth when he says it, you know, that kind of, and he's relishing that moment of inflicting pain, eternal pain for the rest of someone's life, however long that's going to be.
I've done far worse than kill you. I've hurt you. And I wish to go on hurting you. I shall leave you as you left me.
A dangerous motherfucker, man. He is a bad bastard. Most of the time, he's suppressing this rage. And you don't see him torture the people on Regulus One. You hear about it. You know what I mean? He split their throats. He went wild. And you can well imagine him doing that. And that's because of the power of his performance that's understated. That's like, I'm going to avenge myself upon you. I think that the jury's out whether that's like a prosthetic on his chest.
No, it definitely is.
He is fucking benched out, man.
He's got a banging set of tits on him.
Well, that's what...
He's in pucker shape. He's in magnificent shape. And you know what? He's like, yeah, no problem. And I reckon, I don't know anyone in that cast that could have pulled that off. Not one person.
No.
Not one. William Shatner, no one could have pulled that off. It was just like, flex. Oh, yeah, go on, son.
It comes really close as Ricardo Montalban in that to hamming it up too much and overplaying it and becoming ridiculous, but it never actually takes it to that level. It takes it to the point where it's so... And the thing is, it works so well because it's a genetically enhanced human, right? So he is beyond us, and that comes through. There's a power to his delivery, and one of the things that we've not mentioned is the fact that you completely understand why he wants Kirk dead. You know, he's killed his wife. This is everything that comes out of Khan in this is passion. He loves his wife. He hates Kirk. Nothing is done just for fun. Mm-hmm. It's driven by absolute pure, just human emotion, and it comes across. And Nicholas Meyer, the director, the most frequently asked question he gets about this film is, "Was that a fake chest on Khan?" And he says no. And I think Ricardo Montalban insisted on showing it, because I don't think that was meant. I think that was he insisted on having that chest out, because I don't know how old he is. I mean, he clearly is not, a young fella in this film, but it is a very impressive chest, and he's got an impressive mane of hair. He's just an impressive man. But this is why Shatner brings his A game to this, because if he didn't, right, if Shatner wasn't very good, then this film wouldn't really work, because you wouldn't get a balance between Khan and Kirk. But because both of them are just, I know I said it, but Shatner in this film is just absolutely amazing. Every scene is in, you can't help but it's just a magnificent example of human,
Yeah, you can't get a bigger contrast than this dude on the view screen flexing. I've got you by the fucking bollocks, boy. And he's literally stood there enjoying his moment. And in that moment, Captain Kirk has to go through the humiliation and put his glasses on with this benched out fucking dude ready to kill him, and he puts his glasses on and he's looking over him like an old school teacher, like a piano.
He's looking at like this,
and he's like, "Khan," and and it's a very Star Trek thing of mind over muscle, brains over brawn.
Totally.
Like, we're cooking up something that you don't know. You think you're fucking clever, cunt. I'll show you clever. Khan never met Chekhov.
Yeah, I was waiting to see who was going to bring it up, because it's the first thing. It's like, he wasn't in that episode, man. He wasn't.
Chekhov.
He wasn't there until season 2. Chekhov didn't come until season 2.
Know that
would have been great if Chekhov had gone. Where he says, "I never forget a face," and Chekhov went, "I was on shore leave. We'll talk about."
I never forget a face.
Everybody during the bloody filming knew, and they all just kind of like, "Well, I'm not going to say it. I'm not bringing it up."
Because I never watched the original series before I got to these films, that sold it. It was sold to me, because I didn't know. I knew Chekhov was from that, but I didn't know when he come into it, or why, or that big fucking hairdo that he had, or any of that lot. I didn't know that. He also says,
I watched this, I really had to sit and question myself, going, Chekhov wasn't in that. I'm sure Chekhov.
Oh, really? Right, yeah.
I'm so confused watching the whole bloody movie, thinking Chekhov wasn't in that episode.
But does that mean it wasn't on the Enterprise? Maybe it was in a different.
It was a lower decker.
It's a lower decker.
But
it's when Captain Terrell says, "Chekhov, who is this man?" And Chekhov should have gone on, "Fucking no."
He should reach behind him onto his VHS shelf and pull off Star Trek: The Motion Picture. I never forget a face.
Yeah.
You would run out the door screaming, "Beam me up." You wouldn't
Yes.
just casually walk out the door going,
It wouldn't
"That's
be,
a nice
oh, we
day,
need
isn't
to
it?"
leave now. It's
No, what he should have done there is he should have said, "We're here on a rescue mission. We've come to rescue you." So he should have just blagged it.
just
Oh,
start blagging,
we're on a
man.
rescue. We've
Yeah.
been looking for you for 15 years.
Do you know what? We've been here for 15 years on this one, just doing this
I found
grid
you.
search
Yeah, man.
pattern thing,
Yeah.
and we got there in the end card. Yeah, we got hot coffee waiting. Yeah,
I'm really
sorry about that.
but
Yeah,
Probably
no,
does.
that
yeah.
it's a huge plot hole. What, they didn't notice a fucking planet was missing from that solar system when they were searching?
Yeah.
But you can ignore that because it's a good plot. It is a good
Yeah.
plot.
Chekhov, Walter Koenig knew that he wasn't in
Yeah,
the episode
yeah.
because he said when he's on doing, because it's one of the things he talks about a lot when he's on panels, and he always says he knew, but he didn't say anything because he didn't want to, obviously.
He'd
he
been
didn't want
taken out the movie.
Exactly, yeah. He didn't want to be his
It's like,
part reduced.
I'm just running with it. Yeah, man.
Because
I don't know.
you can imagine they would have switched him out for Sulu or something, So
Yeah.
he wanted
Yeah.
that,
That's how I'd end up screwing myself because my ADHD
I
wouldn't
would have
allow
done
that.
it
I'd
as
be
well.
like, "Excuse me, mate, I want in
I
this
wasn't in
episode.
that
Do you
episode,
realise
no,
that?"
I
Oh,
don't
see you
no.
later, mate. It's
Yeah,
like,
I
"Oh."
totally would have. Yeah. hmm
No, screen time's what he wanted, and I think at this point in
I can't
time,
blame
we've got two films. There could be a third. We could be onto a franchise here. This is payday coming, baby. If we do this well, and if you're looking at a franchise, you want more screen time. You want a bigger check. So you would just keep your fucking. Do you remember when you? Yeah.
Absolutely don't blame him at all. I do not blame him for a
I would have
second.
walked up to Ricardo Montalban on the set and I'd have shook his hand and go, "It's been so long, mate. It's been so long." me and Ricky, man, we go way back. Do you remember back on the lot in Paramount? We did lunch and shit. Yeah. Right. So let's go. Costume, makeup. I'm in.
My thinking is that there's so many series that have been on for such a long time that you get this kind of effect of villain decay, where the villains from the start become less impressive over time. Like, I can't think of a good example. My brain's just giving me Supernatural for whatever reason, because that's a really good example of like really shit villains at the start because they have to keep getting bigger.
Yeah.
James Bond all the way.
There you go. But the villains from the start seemed really big and scary at the start, and then you keep going, and then you look back and go, actually, they're kind of shit, aren't they? But it doesn't work with Khan because Khan's still up there as one of the best villains of Star Trek, despite this being 40 years ago. Is that right? 40-ish years ago.
The Wrath of Khan's on the 1983 Star Trek annual. I can tell you that.
He's still revered as one of the best is because you've only seen him twice.
Yeah.
When you keep seeing the Borg, and it's like, oh, we're flogging this again. And the same with the Jem'Hadar, the same with the Romulans, same with the Klingons. They're always in it. So I think that's why he's revered as one of the best, because he did a really good performance. That was enough. Thank you very much. Good night. I'll take my money and run.
Yeah.
I was just saying, it'd be a bit difficult to see more of him given the fact that, he's dead as a character.
So was Spock.
And obviously dead as an
Yeah, I
actor,
know, right?
but even trickier.
Come on, Steve. Genesis brings him back to life.
As Benedict Cumberbatch.
I did always think that. I was like,
right, we're talking about Khan, right? When they wrote this episode, they knew they wanted a follow-up to a Star Trek episode. And they got the idea from the animated series, because the animated series revisited a lot of, previous Star Trek episodes. And obviously, when they came up with the idea of Khan and a sequel to Space Seed, they actually never asked Ricardo Montalban if he wanted to be in it. They just proceeded with the entire concept and the full script without even asking him. Because he was... What's the other thing that he did? He did a series. Some island.
Fantasy Island.
Fantasy Island, that's it. 'Cause he was filming that at the time. I've never watched it, but he was filming that at the time. But when they asked him, he did want to do it. But he kind of, because he'd been playing that particular character for ages, he wasn't quite sure if he could play Khan again, how to get back into the character. So apparently he rewatched Space Seed over and over and over again to get back into the character. But yeah, so this film, when it was initially conceived and written, and the first draft was issued and everything, they'd never even asked Ricardo Montalban if he wanted to appear in it. They just assumed that he would do.
Jesus.
But thankfully it did. And I can imagine if he'd have said no, they could have had. I mean, I'm assuming they probably would have just got a different actor to play it if they've got the whole story and everything.
Well, if they'd have gone with the new situation, Peter Cushing would have been up there or someone like that. Do you know what I mean?
Not Peter Cushing, the one who played Saruman.
Oh, yes.
Christopher Lee.
Christopher Lee
that
would
could
have
have been
been.
really fun.
I think Christopher Lee would have done good in this.
I think.
Totally agree.
A lot of people
I would have
say
chased him round the moons of Nibia and around Antinori's maelstrom and around Hudderson's flames before.
Would have been the
Do you know what? I was gutted about this in Spock's death scene. I was expecting him to turn around and go pain.
Do you know? Right, there's one thing that Leonard Nimoy does in that death scene. When Kirk, sits down and he's looking at Spock, he's like, Spock walks toward, and he walks into the plexiglass, and
he's lost it.
But he's already going blind and everything from the radiation. He can't see shit. Which is why he's totally looking off to one side.
Yeah. But that's one of the bits where you realise. That's one of the bits where you start to well up.
That's how bad it is.
Exactly. Yeah, because you realise.
He stands up. He's in the corner. Or let's do it. He's in the corner in the fetal position.
Yeah.
Dying, and he's like, and he says it, but he can't hear him. So he presses Spock. And then he stands up, pulls down his tunic because, let's have a bit of fucking decorum.
Right.
Let's have a bit of decorum. I'm going to see my friend. I'm going to say goodbye. And he staggers over a bit and then bang and he's like, fuck, I'm losing it. And then he just, it's just too much, man. Too much. And the lines that he says, I have been and always shall be your friend. Oh, fucking hell. I'm getting emotional now.
No, it is, isn't it? It really is.
It's what always gets me is how rough he sounds. Because it's not Spock speaking properly. It's right in there.
Yeah, it's got Louis Armstrong kind of voice. It's like he's been gurgling with drain cleaner.
I have been and always shall be your friend.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
He's losing it. And I'll tell you straight, from a very young age, I watched this film, very young age, and that was the benchmark of what friendship is to me.
Oh,
do you know what I mean?
I'm not dying in a bastard radiation.
No.
Nah, man, it's not worth it.
Look at that. That's it. Christina's got it there. I have been and always shall be your friend.
Does Khan win because he broke him?
Oh, that's a good question, John Joe.
Ooh.
I think he does until Star Trek 3, yeah.
I was going to say, I propose. He wins right up until Spock comes back to life. And then...
I think, in fact, the whole planet is Khan. That's why it starts killing itself at the end to try and catch him.
Yeah, it's just born of evil.
Yeah.
Sam said something a minute ago, which is true. You know, when about Spock and he's dying. The truth is, right, Spock is there and he's in that fetal position and he's dying and he uses his last bit of energy to the point where he can't see straight.
Up.
Yeah, he walks into a wall just so he can say to Jim.
Just so he can be near.
Yeah.
He can't even see him.
No.
But just so he can be near Kirk.
And die next to him. Oh, do you know what? It's getting me now. Just thinking of it. It really is, honestly.
Yeah.
And then we get his funeral, like a burial at sea almost. It's that kind of thing. He's fired off in a torpedo. He's got his pipes on. Amazing Grace comes in. We get the most out the corner of his mouth, human, that kind of thing. Yeah, he of all the souls I've ever known, he was the most human.
Of all the souls I have encountered in my travels, his was the most human.
He's breaking apart. Everyone's breaking apart. Scotty comes up with the pipes, and I don't know how that kind of worked its way in. Whether James Doohan went, look, we're going to have to do this because I'm a jock.
There's a Scotsman here. Yeah.
Yeah, and this is a funeral, and I'm not going to a funeral with no fucking pipes, right? That's just not happening.
I've got my pipes in the boot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and just that stereotype, like every Scotsman everywhere can play the pipes. Didn't you know that? So
I don't believe for a second they replicated. I think they're Scotty's own 300-year-old set of bagpipes he's been handed down.
That's real skinned. It sets up the scene of that naval style burial at sea. That it's not a coffin, but it's coffin-esque.
Yeah,
it's a very good idea. So you've got the casket style torpedo draped in the flag. This torpedo that comes out is different. This is like a streak of light, like a shooting star kind of thing. You know what I mean? And we see it. It's not that torpedo that we see. And to be perfectly honest, in Star Trek 6, if I was Spock working on everyone that ever put me near a torpedo, like, can you work on that? You'd be like, no, thanks. No.
To be fair, though, he wasn't actually aware of the fact that he was
He wouldn't remember that. Yeah.
No, but he would have woken up in a coffin. Imagine
He would have
that.
woken up in a coffin.
Yeah.
Jed's dressed up for it.
I'll say I went to pictures to see this.
Yeah.
I was only a kid, but I went to pictures. That scene with the thing in his ear, it was 16 foot fucking long to me. I shat myself. It was a fucking crocodile. It was a 30-foot fucking crocodile on the screen. Hearing the music in the cinema, can't beat this.
Oh, I bet.
Seriously.
How old were you?
You can't beat it. Me, I'm 51.
No, how old were you when you saw it at the cinema?
I was born in 73. What, 82, 83?
Yeah. So you're about 10 or 11?
I was about 9.
Oh, right, okay.
Is that how they do math up in the north?
Well, it said...
Hey, I'll have fucking less of that.
But yeah, no, watching this in the pictures is brilliant.
Yeah.
It's proper Trek tingles. I love this one. Undiscovered Country, I put it in a par with Undiscovered Country. Because everything else after this, kind of like...
Would you like an interesting fact? Do you know what the original script, because I looked what the 3 scripts were called. Do you know what the original script and title for this film was?
What?
The Undiscovered Country.
Oh.
Try and prove me wrong, Dan. I've checked 6 times.
Oh my!
Oh my!
Hey, if we're doing oh my's, I've got another oh my for you. Do you know I need to Google the name of the kid. Do you know Khan's main henchman? I can't remember his name now. The younger one.
The youngster.
The youngster.
The guy that keeps going, maybe don't do that.
Yeah, I did. What?
I'm super smart.
Yes, yes. That's the name of the character. Yeah.
Right.
I know. I just called him his henchman, but the truth is, I think Khan was the most hench man in this film. But anyway, Judson Scott played Joachim, whatever it's called, but it doesn't actually get a credit in the film.
What?
It doesn't get a credit. The reason is his agent was trying. No, his agent tried to get him a higher fee or get him, build higher. And they basically ended up cocking up the entire thing, and so ended up going without a credit because I think what they did was they waived. They did. I think it's called a credit waiver, so he didn't get credited. That his agent accidentally fucked it up, and he never got credit. He still got paid, but he didn't get credit in the film.
Yeah, but that's kind of sucks.
The only one who didn't appear was like Nurse Chapel. She weren't in this one, but in Search for Spock. She sat in the restaurant watching it fucking come in when it's all destroyed when they're coming back.
Yeah.
And that's it. I think that's the only time you see her in that. What I liked about this was you can see the difference, the money spent on the motion picture, and then you get into what basically became canon. The corridors weren't shiny fucking steel. The bridge didn't look like it had a fucking lemon squeezer on the roof. The bridge looked like basically what it was going to be throughout.
Yeah.
I loved it, mate. But yeah, it did world build. John Joe.
Fucking using my expression.
But it did.
It did.
That,
massively.
Not really. He did.
Sorry.
See, in regard to the motion picture, up until where they had the asteroid, where they tried to go to warp speed, anything after that, you could easily switch it off. But prior to that, that first half of the film is fantastic. I loved it. And then after that, it was just more about special effects rather than anything else. And it was called it was actually dubbed the slow motion picture, and you can kind of see why.
Yeah.
Or the motionless picture as well. That's another one.
Yeah.
But
and the director's cut of the motion picture.
What did you call him?
Is brilliant.
Yes, it is. Yeah, because it's longer.
Well, but again, after the asteroid bit, you can pretty much switch it off.
I made a note in my notes. It just says ship porn, and I actually said to my missus, right, and it's when you've got the Reliant and you've got the Enterprise when they're drifting over each other like that and they can't see, and then you see them right next. And I said, just look at these shots. Look at this, is gorgeous. And she kind of she was shaking her head, but she was nodding on the inside. And so I'm with Jed. I can imagine seeing this on the big screen. Honestly, I'm jealous. I know it was shown not that long ago, I think, on the big screen as well, as some sort of anniversary thing. I'm sure it was in a couple of years ago. Was that Search for Spock?
Yeah,
Search for Spock.
Search for Spock was it? I knew one of them. Well, if this is, I would love to see this on the big screen. I would hire a cinema. In fact, we should do that at some point. We should hire a cinema. We should go and watch Wrath of Khan because we all love it. I think we haven't taken a vote on Steve yet.
It's unbelievably cheap these days to do that
It's
cinema the bro.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we should do that.
Do you want another
children's birthday party and get it cheaper?
I noticed Scotty's nephew's Tony from Escape from Witch Mountain and Return to Witch Mountain and Witch Mountain films from the 70s.
Yeah, you love that, didn't you?
I love Tony. So when he was in this, I was like, oh, it's Tony. But no one's mentioned the fact that James Horner was in it.
Oh, my.
Is he in it?
Yes, he's got a cameo.
Oh, I didn't know.
As an enlisted trainee, and he's one when they're all running down the corridor with their weapons.
Yeah.
In the red and the grey.
Oh,
he's got black hair and he's at the front, and that is James Horner.
Oh my.
Oh my. That's a good one that day. I like that.
I haven't really got a lot to say that as everyone hasn't already said, and probably in more depth. Do you know what I mean? I just watched. I mean, I didn't even make any notes. I asked Jed to write notes down.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I did. I wrote the notes down and then kind of like got into it and stopped.
Did he say, let's just make some shit up? Just say that James Horner appeared in one of them scenes.
No, that's what I mean. I found that out by my little own self. He didn't even know that bit. But that's what I mean. Because I needed to rewind it so I could watch that bit. So that's where I went like 10 minutes ago to go and see that bit.
I thought you were having a shit.
No, I was just watching that bit where he was in it. But I can't read his handwriting. So, yeah, I love Wrath of Khan. It's a great movie. And I agree with everything everyone says. 1996. What's that about? What's that all about?
That's when the
Eugenics War was. Do you not remember it?
He basically took over all
was
of
I
Asia.
there? I was in America at the time.
Oh, you must have missed it.
Oh, it's a nightmare, D.
It was awful.
He ruled like a third of the world or something during the Eugenics War. Is that?
He had
that
power over millions. He did, yeah. I think he's supposed to be like an Eastern emperor of some sort or something. Yeah.
Was it one of those things he was bred for war and got a little bit out of control?
Yeah, because he was
too good.
Augmented.
He
was.
That's why Bashir's illegal.
Yeah, that's why Bashir was nearly sacked, and because you're not allowed any augments. Augments are not allowed
Because it's eugenics.
Because of everything that happened with Khan and the eugenic wars.
Yeah.
When they thought they were superior than the plebs.
Is there anything people didn't like about this film? Because I've got two things that I just wasn't a big fan of. And one of them is there's a scene where, I can't remember what it is now, Kirk and a couple of others go down to the planet or whatever. And Kirk, I just wish he'd turn his collar down because it was all stuck up like that and it looked really silly. I thought, look at the size of that collar, it's massive. And the other thing I've got...
I love those jackets. I love those
great
jackets.
They are great. They've got loads of pockets on them. They're really good.
Yeah.
But you need to put the collar down.
Patches.
And also, do you know when Chekhov and the other captain go down to Ceti Alpha 5? Mm-hmm. Those spacesuits are shit. Didn't they look shit?
You know what kind of does get to just the tiny little bit, and it only really I only accept it because Chekhov wasn't in the fucking episode. He's going, Botany. You know, as if this is not one of the most famous bloody lost ships of all time.
Botany Bay. Oh no!
It's as if going Titanic.
There is a bit where when Chekhov, that thing comes out of his ear and Kirk shoots it with its phaser. Like that thing's that big,
on the screen.
and it just goes. And and he's got this phaser, and what you see is him go boom, and then at the other end it goes. You know what I mean? It should have left a big hole in the deck.
Like a barbecue.
And it must have been that close to Chekhov's head as well. I mean, imagine
sorry. Why didn't Chekhov go, Jesus, Governor, what the fuck?
Because, why did it come out anyway?
Yeah, why? Yeah.
Why did it come out in the first place?
Yeah, that's never
So Chekhov doesn't die.
It's all the motion of seeing Kirk, it couldn't handle it, and it had to get out quick.
No, because the other guy killed him, so it was threatened because it knew that Chekhov would do the same.
and it didn't want to die.
Do you know what? That's a good explanation, actually. Yeah, I'll buy that.
He didn't see it, did it?
No, but he knew.
I'm going to do my own mic. Judson Scott, who plays the henchman, and Kirk's son, Merritt Buttrick. I think his name.
Yep.
Yeah. They both appear in the Next Generation episode, Symbiosis. They appear together.
I watched that today.
You what?
Oh shit! I watched that today.
And you fucking didn't think of saying that.
I didn't even know. Right. So, truth be told, right,
the performance was so smooth you didn't even notice.
To be fair, I haven't had a chance to watch the film. Okay, lately because stuff's been going on, so I've not. I've not acted it. So, I mean, the last time I watched that film was probably 6 months ago or something. So, and to be honest, when I'm watching it, I'm not sitting there thinking, "Who do I know from?" I'm just watching the episode. And to be fair, I was just struggling to get through seasons 1 and 2 of Next Gen. So,
right,
it's more like a grit your teeth and ride it out. Sort of.
In Symbiosis, you will see 2 alumni from the Wrath of Khan in that episode together.
Now that you mention it, I've got them in my head now. I know exactly. It didn't even occur to me.
Also, Judson Scott, the henchman, was in Voyager, Message in a Bottle, as well.
Really?
Yeah.
That's one of my favourite episodes ever, is that?
And clearly didn't see him. So what a brilliant actor, eh? He played a blinder. And I think, let me have a look at, I don't know what, so Merritt Buttrick, I hope that's his name. I hope I'm saying that right. He was in, just Symbiosis, that's it. So that's some extras in this film that appeared in Star Trek later on. And together as well. There you go.
Well, now, aren't they just turning into the regular Jeffrey Combs?
Quick vote. Do I like Wrath of Khan or not?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, a bit of a no-brainer, that one, isn't it?
Oh, do you know what? You never quite know with you, Steve. You can never tell. You can't.
I don't give shit away, do I?
No.
The thing I don't like about that film is I just think they could have done it differently. Like, they could have taken away, like, most of the Genesis stuff and just made it about, Khan and Kirk. I just think the whole Genesis thing is a bit...
Sorry, Steve. I think they used the Genesis things because Search for Spock. Because of that thing that he puts on his face, they needed a way to bring him back to life.
I don't know. They knew they were going to do it because the mind meld is there in this version.
So they were going to do it. So they needed some way. They can't keep on blaming everything on space magic.
Well, this one was, he was supposed to be written out. Leonard Nimoy said, I'm not doing any more after this. So... once he'd done Wrath of Khan, he went, do you know what? I've changed my mind. I'd like to come back. So that's how they wrote in the ending with the torpedo. But the Genesis stuff must have already been written in.
I agree majoritively with what you guys have said. It's a great film. If you gave me a choice of the motion picture or scooping my eyes out of the spoon, I'd choose that. This, I would choose the film. But yeah, it's a good film. I like it. Like you've all said, it's quality, and it's one of those things where it's done because it's done so well. You can overlook all of the flaws in it and go more with the spirit of the film and the fact that it's acted really well.
Yeah.
Whereas if it had been a very, very weak, if it had gone for a very weak storyline, then I think, it'd be a lot harder to overlook that stuff. But yeah, overall, good film. I'll watch that whenever it's on. It doesn't.
Yeah,
I'd never I'd never turn that off. That's one of those that you can watch till the cows come home.
I was generally expecting you to say, no, I didn't like it. It's always a bloody nebula. The body's hanging upside down. Who just can't think he is? The bloody predator or something. It's just he's having a laugh, isn't he?
To be perfectly fair, though, right? There was no time travel, so good film. You're on to a winner already.
Oh, well, fucking Voyage Home's going to be a fucking easy one, isn't it?
Well, we will see, won't we, my friend?
There's a lot of like talk about like the flaws in this film and the plot holes and that. But honestly, I don't think there's that many flaws in this film. I'm watching it expecting things to jump out at me, and I don't think there is many. Honestly, I think this is it's close to a flawless
don't think
film.
there's many plot holes.
Honestly,
the fact
No,
that
do you know what
they
it
got a
is?
message saying
You're literally
that's
overlooking.
like somebody saying, "I am Steve." Someone's caught you. You're developing a new hydrogen bomb, right, for peaceful purposes, and someone called you and went, "Someone's trying to take us hydrogen bomb." You going, "Yeah, I'll go on the training cruise."
All right.
Don't go flat out. Go nice and steady.
I
And then you
suppose.
see another ship coming towards you, flat out. That's not even really supposed to be there, and you go, "Oh, we're all one big happy family."
I guess
You
so.
know,
I guess.
I won't call them first and ask them know what's going on in the station. No.
I've reassessed. Okay, you're right. And also, I suppose that code, the access code thing was a bit too easy, weren't it? It's just like, oh yeah, let's just,
If Khan's
you know
so
what?
clever, why didn't he think of that?
If I'd made that film, right, literally that access code upside down would have just said boobies.
Boobs, yeah. Riker's beard style. Go on. One thing that I did think was weird in this film though is like when they raise shields, you see that little animation where these dots go dee 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 dee. I'm like, come on, it must be quicker than that to raise shields. They don't just go dee 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 dee. It's so low tech. And what if like a bit of a shield's down, it's between two dots? You wouldn't be able to show it, would you? It's like there's quite big gaps between them.
Shields activated.
Their shields are going up.
I do like a bit of retrofuturism though.
It's retro cool. I do get that, and it would look great on a display. On your L cars there, that would look brilliant, by the way. Oh, I'm going now, by the way. But before I go, I just wanted to. One thing I wanted to mention was when we're talking about the Wrath of Khan and like Star Trek episodes and such like. There's a bit in the episode where they actually talk about the moral dilemma of having this thing that could be a weapon of mass destruction, or it could bring life. And I did like that because to me that was like proper Star Trek to me. That kind of like moral dilemma of the week, and I like that little bit of banter, and that little bit of moral argument.
Bones doesn't like the idea of it, does it? At all.
Bones immediately goes, "This is a weapon of mass destruction. It can't be trusted." No.
Yeah.
What if this thing we use where life already exists?
It would destroy such life.
I was not attempting to evaluate its moral implications, Doctor. As a matter of cosmic history, it has always been easier to destroy than to create.
We're talking about universal Armageddon.
He said, what happens if it's introduced to a planet with life on it?
Yeah.
Well, basically, it'll destroy that life to rewrite it for his own life. He went, and then he started saying, oh, God created the Earth in 7 days, but watch out, Genesis can do it in 6 minutes.
That's a great line, actually.
That is another great line.
About that, yeah.
According to myth, the Earth was created in 6 days. Now, watch out. Here comes Genesis. We'll do it for you in 6 minutes.
And also,
it sounds like a cheap commercial, doesn't it? Watch out, Genesis can do it in 6 minutes. It's like he's selling a blender.
It's like a space version of an air fryer.
And also, in terms of world building, because Jandro mentioned the fact that there's no world building, and then everybody slapped him down and said, "What are you on about? There's loads."
You don't know what you're talking about, you fool.
I love the world building in this because I always feel that with the world building Star Trek started with the films because it was all kind of isolated to this little ship and this bridge and little adventures, whereas it's just little things like you get to see beyond the Enterprise. You get to see these space stations. You understand that there's a big world. And I think it was Patches who mentioned the fact that Starfleet is the military in this. I think it's referred to as the military.
Yeah.
And Kirk's son says at one point that he gets nervous when he sees Starfleet or Starfleet get involved. And you would never have had a line like that if Gene Roddenberry was involved, because this is the first time that Starfleet's shown in a light that isn't just pure like Picardism, if you know what I mean.
It's militaristic. It's got the uniforms, they've got warships, they've got, and the science is like true science and exploration seems to be done by a different department on Regulus One, and there's other places. It's not really billed as a secret research station, really. It's billed as this is a science project, but Starfleet's taken an interest in it. That kind of thing. So, I agree with that.
It's not until we get the third one you see Space Dock One.
Yeah. Oh, is that the mushroom one?
That's the
I
big
love that.
space
Beautiful,
station.
yeah. That is-
Well, as a kid, when I saw that, and you see the size of the ships going in it, and all the ships and parts in it, and when they're building it in a shitty little dry dock with a farcical space station, which is miles away from the fucking dry dock.
The only thing is, though, if you put a door on it like that, you're kind of limited to how big you can build your ships then.
Yeah. Star Trek 3, by the way, I think that was my introduction to Star Trek. I think that was the first Star Trek I ever saw, which is a bizarre thing because it's slap bang in the middle of 2 and 4. And one thing
interesting.
But one thing that we've not mentioned is the fact that Star Trek 2 is the start of the accidental trilogy. It was never designed to be a trilogy, but you've got these 3 films that occurred straight after each other. And I said to Deborah, the bizarre thing about this is you've got these 3 films, the accidental trilogy, and I think it's the most fascinating trilogy because you've got this like action adventure here, the next one's a slow and brooding film, and then you've got a time travel comedy. It's just they're completely different in tone. And if you watch the films, bear in mind they're all set within days of each other, really. Scotty goes from being like Scotty from the TV series but with grey hair to being it changes so much. I mean they all do, but Scotty his transformation's amazing.
But it's noticeable. One last thing I was going to say about Wrath of Khan is I wish there was some way in the world that I could have watched this for the first time without the kind of universal knowledge that Spock doesn't stay dead.
Yes.
Because I'd love to know what that experience is like. I watched it knowing he comes back. I can't. Like none of the original movies, none of the TNG. I knew what happened in all of them before I saw them.
Yeah.
Like, there's no shock at all. I knew it was coming.
It was
every single time. And I know it's shit. I know it was sad. So I would have liked to experienced it. It would have been.
It would have, yeah.
It's a different movie. I think, like when you've seen it for the first time, like when you've seen it when it came out or whatever, it's a completely different experience watching it now. Knowing what's going to happen.
No, you're absolutely. And the funny thing is, well, it's not funny. It does still emotionally hit. But obviously, that's me magnified, not knowing that it doesn't come back.
Even I've must have seen this like maybe half a dozen times, and from the first time I knew Spock dies and then comes back.
Yeah,
and I always knew that. That's just it was. I knew that was coming. And
you're just along for the ride at the minute. At that point, you're just along for the ride. You want to see how this pans out. Yeah.
Like all the time you're watching it, and he's dying, you're waiting for something to happen.
Yeah.
To stop it happening.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you still know it's gonna.
And that's like real life, isn't it? You know, if you know someone.
It's the same for like all the movies for me. Like even into the next gen movies, it's like, oh, this is the one where Data dies. And that's you watch the movie.
I would love to have seen people's faces leaving the cinema to see in this film. Can you imagine the atmosphere? It must have been like.
Dude, that happened before I was born.
Yeah. I've just been editing the Wrath of Khan discussion. There's one thing we don't mention in there, and it feels really remiss that we don't mention it. So one bit where Patches is talking about some of the actors, mainly Kirk's son and the guy who plays like the main henchman. He's in quite a few episodes. He's in TNG and he's in Voyager and things like that. Plays a Romulan, I think, at one stage. But we didn't mention the fact that Captain Terrell was played by Paul Winfield, who played
the guy in Darmok, didn't he?
Exactly, he played the guy in Darmok, and it just felt like that was a really big thing to not mention. Dathon was the name of the character.